Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. We have got a lot of banking news to cover. I have got 5 stories, and I put them in order of importance. So the fifth one is going to be the most important. Holy cow, I got some feedback. Stand by. The Ninja has some technical issues. Now, we have been covering the banking crisis for actually a couple of years. We've been warning about this. So many of you have been subscribers for quite some time. The most important thing to know is the earlier you realize this is happening, the more time you have to prepare for this. And things are happening in at breakneck speed now. Quite frankly, it is shocking to me that more people do not understand the severity of this. There is a poll that I'd love you to go take a look at about the collapse of the banking system. So please go and check it out. And as a matter of fact, there's a ton of people diving on right now to give their opinions on that. Please check that out. Here we go. We are going to start right now with, I believe, B of A. Let's check it out. All right, this is out of the Sun. Charge change. Bank of America adds automatic surcharge that the bank can't shield customers from. But is there a way to avoid it? Now, let me ask you this. Why would a bank need to add a surcharge? Are they hurting? I believe that you are going to see banks like Bank of America come straight out and admit it in the next 60 days. As a matter of fact, they pretty much already have, where the CEO of Bank of America, Brian Moynihan, came out and said that if he is forced to hold back just a mere 2% more of your deposits, type 2 if you don't like Bank of America, type 3 if Bank of America is okay. I'm just curious what you guys think. If he has to hold back just 2% more of your deposits and not gamble them, remember, that's what they're doing. They are taking your money and they are investing it, trying to make a big rate of return, which most of it goes to them if they make money. However, if there are losses, like there were from 2006 to 2009, they go to the government and they say, we now want the taxpayers' money to bail us out. And during that time, CEOs, C-suite execs, board of directors, upper management, they don't miss a beat. They keep making their money. As a matter of fact, a lot of them still get bonuses. But it's gambling. Well, why would Bank of America need to add a surcharge? Thank you, Darcy, so much for the super chat. Here we go. It's out of the Sun. Depositors have paid extra fees on some of the bank's services, but Bank of America did not apply them. Customers can easily avoid some of the fees on their Bank of America services by taking a few quick steps. Now, remember, I'm putting these 5 stories in order of relevance and severity. The banking giant says it doesn't charge fees for using online services. However, the bank can't shield customers from service charges applied by internet providers. The company wrote in its online service statement, there is no charge for accessing your linked account with the service. However, the bank warned customers they could still incur internet service provider or carrier fees. Now, what's really interesting, and this is why I brought this story in, is this a big deal? Yeah, not much. However, you got to read between the lines. You see, Bank of America has come out and they're now coming out swinging. They're trying their hardest, putting out a PR campaign to push the blame off of them. They have been in the news like you can't believe because of so many problems in the banking system, right? Bank of America is number 2 when it comes to the size of U.S. banks, Chase Bank being number 1. When the collapse happened this last spring with 4 banks, and it's getting worse, and you're going to see from this news that it's going to be getting worse, they have to start spinning things. And people are starting to dissect the news. They're starting to dissect their banking statements. They're starting to dissect even the way that they're spoke to in the branch when they're going to withdraw money. How many of you have tried to withdraw money of any size in the last year? And let me know down in the comment section below. Have you had trouble? If you have, put I've had trouble. If you haven't, say no, I'm good. I'll bet you 9 times out of 10 or 9 comments out of 10 will be, I have had trouble. Whether you're being accused of doing something malicious, you're questioned in a way that makes you feel guilty for taking it out. In all reality, they don't have the money to give you. If 10 people walked into any given bank and asked for $10,000, I'll bet you they wouldn't have the money. And when you look at the total amount of deposits there, it proves they don't have that money. And that's why Brian Moynihan of Bank of America was freaking out over an additional 2%. Sorry, guys. All right, so now let's jump into the next story. Shutting down. This is out of the Sun as well. Major U.S. bank with more than 1,000 locations nationwide closing branch as frustrated customers are directed elsewhere. Now, we've been talking about banks closing branches left and right. Whether it be a problem with employment, getting workers to work at the bank, I don't see that as the issue. I think a consolidation is happening in our nation's banking system that is very serious. Or whether it be a lot of banks that choose now or for the last 20 years have been putting their branches in grocery stores, and now we're starting to see grocery stores closing, so banks are forced to close. Whether it be that or the earlier situation, we're seeing more and more branches close. However, there are so many people that could care less. Quite frankly, they go, I'll just bank online. It's cheaper. We saw internet banks explode after the year 2008. Do you remember when Ally came out and they were bank with Ally? We will give you more bang for your dollar when it comes to more money, more interest goes in your hand because we are saving money. We are not employing as many people. We're not going to employ your neighbors or your friends. We're going to not employ them, and we're going to be a faceless bank. There were so many banks that came out after 2008, the crash, and they said, hey, we've got an idea. We're going to do something better. We're going to give more interest. But you know what blows me away is that banks make record profits during the worst time. It's like an oil company. While oil prices are exploding, everybody's hurting at the pump, everyone's freaking out. The executives are getting record bonuses. Isn't that incredible? It's the same thing with the banking system. So check this out. U.S. major bank with more than 1,000 locations closing branches as frustrated customers directed elsewhere. Thank you so much, Jacob, for the super chat. And also, thank you so much to everyone that hit the thumbs up. A major bank, which is Fifth Third Bank, announced it will be closing one of its banking locations in Cincinnati, Ohio. Now, I love doing these stories where they go, we're closing one. And everyone goes, that's not that big of a deal. And I said, I love to catch this type of news story for you because I go, it's not the only one. They like to ease out the information. They want to get you, the consumer, the user of their products or services, used to the idea that, oh, it's not that bad. Yeah, one branch closed, but hey, we've got another one down the street. We got one up the road. Everything's okay. And then next month, it's 2 branches. Next month, it's 3 branches. And then the cascade. But what happens is most people are already programmed to think, well, it's not just my bank. You see, and I've done tons of stories here in the last month and a half where it's just one bank, and then it's 2, and then it's 3. And that's why I keep bringing these. And I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. I'm trying to show you a pattern. It says right here, Fifth Third Bank announced it will be closing one of its bank locations in Cincinnati, Ohio. The bank located in downtown Cincinnati inside a Kroger store. What? I was just doing a story the other day about Wells Fargo closing multiple branches because of grocery stores that are closing. Let's just throw this out there. Bank located in downtown Cincinnati inside a Kroger store is the 9th largest U.S. consumer bank, said Fifth Third spokeswoman Beth Oates. Customers will be directed to another location, either in Mason or in Deerfield Township, said Oates. See, now you guys know that I do not read these stories before I go live with you. I love to do everything live. I love to give you my take, my thoughts, get your thoughts in the comment section. But it's just like I said, it's not that big a deal. You just go to this one or you go to that one. It's no big deal. There are 102 Fifth Third branches in Greater Cincinnati, the most of any bank. It's going to be a lot more closing. Hey, let me know if you're in Cincinnati or from Cincinnati down in the comments below. According to Oates, the latest closure is part of the company's ongoing review of its branch network. They just told you right there. It's an ongoing review. This is part of our overall strategy to enhance our distribution in Cincinnati with new locations and branch refreshes. Type 5 if you think branch refresh, quote unquote, means we're shutting down a bunch of branches. It's going to get harder for you to just go down the street and have access to your money. A new location was recently built in Miami Township, along with a refreshed location in Newport. And another location is set to open at Cincinnati Northern Kennedy International Airport later this year. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I believe that you're going to see a lot of these. We're building banks right now. It's going to be like the Amazon warehouses of 2022, where all these plans were set up and permits are pulled and we broke ground. And all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, we're not building that anymore. And entire towns that were banking on those jobs are like, what do you mean you're not building? Oh no, we're not. We changed our mind. That's going to be the story of 2024. Bank discontinues plans to build in this town. Bank shuts down operations before opening its doors in this city. You're going to see that. Our banking system is literally cratering as we speak, which brings me to the whole thought of real estate. Think about how much they're pushing. How many of you, type the number 9 in the comment section below. If you've been in a bank lately and you've seen signs, advertisements, or you have been approached by a banker and asked, would you like a HELOC? Would you like a HELOC loan? Why are they doing that? That is exactly what they did in 2006, 2007. They were trying to push HELOC loans because nobody could afford homes. The people that had homes, they're trying to get them to tap into their equity. Why? Because they can't sell mortgages and they're hemorrhaging money at the bank. They need more loans. And that is the truth. That's what's happening right now. That's why I've been telling everyone to prepare for the real estate collapse. This is just like what I went through, but literally multiplied by a factor of 10 from what I went through in 2006 and I was liquidating all my homes to what we're seeing now. This is amazing. If you want, I'm going to put a handful of the discount links, 80% off. Once they're gone, they're gone. They're in the description below, or I'll pin them in the comment section to the real estate crash course. You need to be prepared for this. You need fundamentals. You need to be armed with knowledge, and then you're going to have a conviction like you've never had in your life, and you're going to be prepping like crazy because you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. This is actually bad news, but it's good news when you see it ahead of time. It says here, earlier this summer, the bank announced it would close another branch in Eastwood. So, I'm sorry, it's not the first one. I digress. Let's dive into the next story. Check this one out. This is a big one. This is from The Sun. It's entitled, U.S. Bank is forced to liquidate and sell off its loans and deposits after important update on customers' money is issued. Okay. A bank suspected of having links to the infamous cryptocurrency company FTX has been forced to liquidate. Now, let me ask you this. Type yes if you believe that we are going to have a bank liquidation event in 2023. Type no if you do not believe we are going to. I personally believe the answer is yes. We are going to see a liquidation event, a watershed event, with banks not being able to stay solvent. I believe that event starts between the last week of September and the first week of October. And by the looks of you, a lot of people, or the comments, sorry, a ton of people believe the exact same thing. Now, what happens when more people start to realize what is really going on in the banking system? Well, people start to avoid banks. They start to plan. They get multiple bank accounts. They separate money. Now, we have seen the M2 money supply drop pretty much for the first time. Actually, not pretty much. On the scale it has dropped in the last year and a half, 2 years, excuse me, we've seen it drop. We've never seen it drop since the crash of 29. Isn't that exciting? I want to be doom and gloom, but quite frankly, when you get ready for this, you get fired up and excited and ready. And if you are like me, every day that you have to save, prepare, get out of debt, that's how you prepare for this, right? You don't get another debt. You start to change your spending habits. You start to save cash. You start to put away a little bit of money in gold and silver. I mean, I'm not giving financial advice. I'm telling you what I did. You buy a little bit of crypto. You diversify your funds, because when everything starts crashing and the deflationary spiral comes crashing down on everything, as banks are not liquid and they're running to the Fed cannot do any more because it's afraid of adding too much assets to its balance sheet. It comes running to the Treasury Department. Good thing it put one of its own as the head, right? And then the Treasury Secretary goes running to the president for a bailout, just like happened in 2008, but on steroids. We are going to be excited because we are going to be pouncing on real estate, on assets. Now check this out. Again, FTX is coming up. Farmington State Bank in Washington. Let me know if you've heard of Farmington State Bank. In Washington is winding down its operations after the Fed sent it a cease and desist. I haven't heard of Farmington State Bank from Washington in the headlines. That's weird. I mean, we have the Federal Reserve coming out and saying it's okay. We've contained the banking crisis, just like Ben Bernanke did when he was talking about the mortgage-backed security crisis back in 2005. Remember? And he was dead wrong. He wasn't wrong. He was just lying to the public. He knew what was going on. But today we've got a Federal Reserve that is out there talking, no, we've contained the crisis at hand. Thank you, Blue Steel. We are in a position right now where we are being lied to, and it's all about who wants to believe the lies or who doesn't want to believe the lies. Type I do if you believe in lies. Type I don't if you don't. It's literally that simple. It says here, Farmington State Bank is suspected of having links to the bankrupt cryptocurrency exchange FTX. Do you remember Silvergate La Jolla? That's what started this entire banking collapse back in, what is it, the spring? It was actually before the spring, but really what kicked off the bigger banks. The Federal Reserve Board officials have accused the company of changing its business operations without informing supervisors and getting the necessary approval. The bank is accused of engaging in crypto-related activities, as reported by FX Street. Josie Booth, the director of business operations for Farmington, told the Spokesman Review earlier this month that the branch will be closing. Officials have said they've sent emails to customers informing them that the bank is shutting down. What would you think about, how would you feel if you only had one bank and your bank sends you a letter saying, you know what, we're shutting down operations due to an ongoing investigation or an investigation that's been launched, and they don't tell you why. And you got to go to the news and you find out that your bank had been gambling on the price of Bitcoin or any other cryptos and lost during that last crash that happened last year. During a deflationary spiral, when the stock market starts to collapse, you know what happens? The big money, the hedge funds, the big investors, they sell assets that are performing well to cover their losses. So what happens during a deflationary event and a liquidation event? It's literally called liquidation because what happens is your manager of funds starts looking at everything going, oh my gosh, I'm taking massive losses there. We're getting margin called. What do we do? Okay, sell this, sell this, sell this. We're still in the green. Okay, well, what happens if other hedge fund managers are going, oops, sell this, sell this, sell this, and they're the same asset? Well, I'll tell you exactly what happens. You have more sellers than buyers. Then what happens is the price of that goes down. We saw it with paper gold, paper silver in 2008. Both of those started crashing down. Now, it was only the paper price. Why? Because people at the same time were watching the paper price drop. They were racing down to their coin store or their online sales, which there wasn't a lot back then. And they're racing to buy up, grab deals, and within 24 hours, boom, the price over spot explodes. It didn't matter what the price of spot did. That exact same thing is going to happen in crypto someday. You're going to watch it. Because what people do not understand, they fail to get it. And let me know if you get it down there. Just type in, I get it. The price of Bitcoin, a lot of it is because there are more buyers than sellers, and it went up in price, and a lot of it was due to derivatives. When you go buy Bitcoin on Coinbase, you want to know how I know it's not real Bitcoin at first? Because you can't go on, wire your funds, the funds become good, you buy Bitcoin, and then immediately pull it off the exchange. They don't let you do it. The reason why is because it's not real. They've got to wait now and go, oh crap, we got a bunch of people trying to pull off Bitcoin. Okay, buy real Bitcoin. But they're hoping that you buy Bitcoin, they take your money, it goes down tomorrow, $1,000, whatever, and you sell it. And you know what they get to do? They give you back all your money minus the $1,000. They just made $1,000 profit on you, all based off of a derivative. This is how fake the banking system is. All right, so this bank right now is closing its doors because it got a letter from the Federal Reserve to cease and desist. How many other banks, just guess, just throw out a guess, how many other banks do you think right now are getting cease and desist letters from the Federal Reserve because they were so tied to crypto, but for some reason, they were able to hide this? It's very, very important that people realize this. Officials have said they've sent emails to customers informing them that the bank is shutting down. Farmington will sell its loans and deposits to the Bank of Eastern Oregon, and the deal is expected to be wrapped up by August 31st. They're having a liquidation event. Other banks are walking in and buying up their assets. Their loans are considered an asset on their balance sheet, and their deposits, considered an asset on their balance sheet. They are now selling them to make themselves whole in some way, and then they're going to close operations. I mean, I'm telling you, this is happening not only in farming with the Farmington Bank, but other ones. You're going to see this now. The Ninja said that a bank was going to crash on the 3rd week of August. Do you guys remember that? Put I do if you remember that. I said it. I called it. Oh, what was that? On my last bank call was like 4 weeks ago. End of July, I called bank closing. All right, cool. You guys remember. Awesome. I got witnesses. I told you that one was crashing on the 3rd week of August. Just so you know, I know a lot of people don't get it. This is just one branch. You're going to see more news coming out. Just saying. And I believe, quite frankly, you're going to see another bank coming out for the exact same reason. Why? Because they got the letter from the Federal Reserve. Now, it says right here, they said that the organization has consented to the order issued by the Federal Reserve. So this is what the Federal Reserve said. Farmington State Bank looks forward. This is what the bank said. Farmington State Bank looks forward to working with the Federal Reserve and the Washington DFI on an orderly liquidation and wind down of the bank. Well, isn't that just nice? Would you look at that? Would you just look at it? They're just super nice. Ninja nailed it. And it's not because I'm some guru. It's because it makes sense. This is all logic. That's what I teach in the real estate crash course. I'm so grateful every time a real estate agent contacts me and goes, oh my gosh, I never saw it this way, and now it makes total sense. I'm helping regular real estate investors, brand new homeowners, home buyers, and real estate agents, brokers. It's because you've got to deal with the logic. These are logical cycles that happen every 7 to 10 years. This, ironically, is a 7 to 10 year cycle inside of a 100-year cycle. This is the big mamma jamma. And I know it sounds crazy because I have a hard time being somber and real serious and let's try and get views, because I'm going to crush it and I want you to crush it. And for anybody out there go, I can't believe you'd take advantage of somebody's misfortune. Yeah, I'm trying to warn millions and millions of people. So I just hold that stupid comment, because we'll let the court of public opinion jump on you for that one. I'm trying to wake up as many people as I can, because honestly, we're going to lose our nation if we lose the wealth of the middle class. This is not a joke. You got a bank right here, Farmington State Bank, saying, we look forward to the Federal Reserve shutting down our bank. You want to know why? You want to know why? Because they're not going to lose their jobs. Another bank's going to go, you guys are crushing it over there. You're breaking how many laws? You got away for that? What? For how long? Come on board. That's how it works. These guys have got to be stopped. How do you stop them? Separate your money right now in the banks. Get some of your money into small banks. I mean, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I did. I brought multiple small banks business. I took money out of my one big bank and I put it in a bunch of small different banks. Spread my risk out. All right. Now, the Federal Reserve, the FDIC has already come out and said they are straight up insolvent. Matter of fact, they were caught in a video that got leaked in November saying that they knew the banks were collapsing and do not let the public know. How do you like that for your public servants? If this doesn't get your blood boiling, I do not know what will. The Federal Reserve Board here said officials have ordered officials at the bank to keep records and pause the destruction of documents amid the ongoing probe. This is straight up the biggest news on CNBC, and I can guarantee you it will not be on there. It may make it, honestly, because you guys are all, and ladies, are sharing this video. Share it everywhere you can. Timestamp this portion right here. To whoever gave the super chat, thank you so much. Things are happening so fast. Farmington had close links to Alameda Research. Hold on. This is a company that was co-founded by the suspected fraudster Sam Bankman-Fried. Do you think he was suspected? No. The guy's a straight-up con man and a thief. In January, it was reported that $50 million was seized from the bank by federal prosecutors. Alameda invested $11.5 million in the bank last, as was reported by the New York Times. Isn't that really interesting? So you have Silvergate La Jolla going down in this early morning, which took out multiple big banks, totaling the total amount of money lost during the banking crash of 2008. That just happened with just 4 banks. I told you a bank was crashing in end of July. It happened. I told you another bank was coming the third week of August. We are now here. Only one branch, though. Only one branch. But think about this. The Federal Reserve gave them a cease and desist letter. Type yes if you believe this is about to be a lot bigger of a story in the next 2 weeks. And quite frankly, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know of one person on social media that is telling you ahead of time what is coming, the dates, and then what's coming next. All I see is a bunch of people reporting on what already happened. Okay. If you aren't getting ready for this collapse, I'd say I feel sorry for you, but I really don't. Because quite frankly, not everyone's going to get ready for this collapse. Smart people are going to get ready for this. It doesn't matter what your wealth or income level is. If you're getting ready, you're going to absolutely dominate it in this last thing. And I want this to be the coolest club ever of smart people that are running around stoked and pumped on life, going, yes, we're not letting the bankers take it. We're going to take it. Because think about this. As they're closing this down and they're selling off the deposits of its depositors and its loans, another greedy bank's going to swallow them up for less than face value. And then what? The shareholders left nothing. That's going to be the story of 2024. Shareholders that are completely destitute because they had money in banks. And I'm about to get to the biggest story. Let's go to the next story. We got two more. And the last one proves it all, sums it up. The smartest dude in the room that everyone's told me that I didn't know what I was talking about. And the truth is out. So stand by for that. Let's do this. Next story, second to last. A huge national bank has continued to downsize its operations, closing another nearly 30 locations on Saturday. Can you guys do me a favor before we get to this last video? We have 3,000 people in here right now and 1,000 thumbs up. Can we get to 2,000 thumbs up in the next 4 minutes? I would be so grateful because I believe that this story is not only big, the next one proves it, sums it all up. And they're hiding something from you. And I'm going to disclose what they're hiding in this last story. Another huge national bank has continued to downsize its operations, closing nearly 30 locations on Saturday. PNC Bank. Put it down below. Hashtag PNC if you guys bank with PNC, and then hashtag PNC sucks if you think this news is worthy of getting out to people because quite frankly, they're not telling you the truth. PNC Bank is officially shuttering 29 locations on August 18th as part of a larger cost-saving effort. Isn't that just so sweet? It's funny how many of you have realized that when a company comes out and says, oh, we're laying a bunch of people off to save costs, and the stock rallies, you go, but wait a minute, that means the company's doing bad. If you were laying people off, that means you're not making that much money, you're trying to save money, and the stock goes up? It's just completely ludicrous, right? Total opposite. Look at this. A larger cost-saving effort because they're in pain. They're collapsing. I've talked about PNC about 6 months ago. This is what's exciting for me. The closures come after the bank already closed 47 locations in June. You serious, Clark? 47 in June. And the bank intends on closing a total of 147 locations as it focuses more on online banking. Well, that's because it's cheaper. You don't need to hire anyone. You don't got to pay any rent. Isn't that just nice? Would you look at that? As part of the effort, 60% of PNC's banking business will become exclusively online. As part of the effort, 60% of PNC's banking business will become I already read that. The changes reflect an evolving customer base with different needs, a spokesperson told the U.S. Sun. No. They're obviously not watching the ninja. We have grown our PNC branch footprint over the past 5 years by building out new branches and through acquisitions, while total industry branches have declined, they said. At the same time, we also make decisions to close branches as customers' needs evolve. Do you believe that your needs are evolving to the point where you don't want or need a local branch for your bank? They are straight up lying to you. Anybody that wants to use this as a short, use it. The banks are lying to you. Well, the customers are evolving. You don't need a branch anymore. You don't need a local bank. They are straight up lying to you. But how many people believe this crap? The sheeple. Most of our locations closing are located in major grocery chains. What? Why would that be? It's because right now, grocery stores are getting squeezed. Their margins are like literally going to nothing. Stores are closing. You want to talk about food supply shutdown? Get ready. It says they are scattered across multiple states, mainly in the mid-Atlantic and southern United States. Now, I am about to hit the last story, and I believe this sums it up. This person, so many people in this country, along with Wall Street, follows. Whatever he does, whatever he says is golden. But I want to tell you something. And I want you to start, as I'm talking about this, I want you to guess who this person is down below. And hashtag the name. Guess hashtag and the name. When this person speaks, people stop. And they believe, because this person has massive, massive wealth in stocks and bonds. And this person wants to be the first out. But you don't realize what this person is doing until he and his company are forced to tell you. He doesn't tell you before he sells. He doesn't tell you before he buys. You only get to learn about it before or after it happens. And that is Warren Buffett. And everybody's been telling me, Warren Buffett's buying up stuff like crazy. No, he's not. That's what I said. No, he is not. He's shifting some positions around, but you always have to look at his cash position. That's the number one thing you need to realize. Why would Warren Buffett, put it down in the comment section, have a large cash position? Why would he grow his cash position? For one reason only. Crash is next. He's getting ready to take big, big opportunities. And I've been talking about why I went to a big cash position in the spring, early spring, and it has held. And I'm not telling people what to do. I'm not a financial advisor. But you have to watch where the big money is. So here we go. This is out of Newsweek. It's entitled Warren Buffett Selling $8 billion worth of stock Raises Economy Crash Fears. Well, now that it's known he's raising money, people start to freak out. Would you like to be prepared before everyone else is? Or would you like to be prepared when no one else is and the crash comes and you're able to pick up things for pennies on the dollar? I want you to be prepared before anyone else is. I don't want you racing to the grocery store when all of a sudden food runs out or toilet paper runs out. I want you laughing and going, we nailed it, Ninja. I got it. I'm still at home. I'm safe. My family's safe. I'm prepared and I'm ready to take advantage. I'm going to come in with a clear head and we're going to dominate. That's why successful people have been successful over the century after century after century, because of patience, preparation, and a clear mind. Out of Newsweek, here we go. Warren Buffett's firm, Berkshire Hathaway, sold a net $8 billion in stocks between the months of April and June in a move that suggests the U.S. economy is not out of the doldrums yet, despite constantly slower inflation. You believe that inflation is slower? Do you believe this crap? I do not. I think that we are being lied to on a massive scale, and the propaganda machine, I mean, we literally have a minister of propaganda, is running overtime to get you to believe that we are okay and to keep you spending. According to Berkshire Hathaway's second quarterly earnings released this month, and please put it down in the comment section if you remember this. I told you multiple times, you're going to see second Q2's numbers. They're going to be bad. They're not going to be what you expect. But when we see Q3s, when you see those come out in October, you are going to see things coming down. That's why Jerome Powell was very positive in saying we're not going to see a recession until 2024. And the reason why is because he knows that the government bought us some time. They bought them some time. Changed the definition of recession. Now, Q3, negative GDP is coming out. Q4, negative GDP. It'll be officially announced recession in 2024. When the presidential election is ramping up, that is when everything comes cascading down, but it's going to happen before that. Why? Just like I told you last November that the crash in the banking system happens between Q1 and Q2, because the rumors around Wall Street will be immense and big money is going to start selling. And before everyone knew about those banks crashing, they're already liquidating those bank stocks. That's what you're going to see in the end of September. Let's go on. The second quarter earnings released earlier this month, the company sold close to $13 billion worth of bought less than $5 billion. That's a net liquidation. The liquidation is already happening. The Nebraska-based investors company spent, thank you, Tony, for the super chat. You know what? I'm going to address this actually right now. This is a good time for this question, and then we're going to get to it. Can you give a little info about how the quantum financial system takes over the banks and how we will be able to use silver and gold for payment? It's very important actually to go over this. A lot of people believe that they're going to use gold and silver. I do not believe that is going to be happening. The reason why is because we do not have enough of it. I believe that you are going to see the price of gold and silver over the long term explode in price. Explode. But you're going to have volatility before in paper. Problem is, if you try and wait for that, you won't be able to catch it. Because if 2020, when the shutdown happened, or 2008 teaches us anything, the time that it takes paper gold and silver contracts to drop and people to race in and buy, especially now with the internet is so much bigger and more prevalent for buying bullion, you can't catch that downturn, perhaps in certain stocks. The quantum financial system is set up by a group of men and women that are quite frankly evil, in my opinion, and they are going to try and use all of this pressure and stress that you're experiencing now, but really in the future, in the near future, to entangle you in a whole new currency. That's why you need to be prepared for this. You need to have a clear mind. How do you have a clear mind? Don't get in debt. Get out of debt right now. Have some cash. Have an emergency fund. Have extra food sitting around. You will think so much clearer. All right. So Warren Buffett is a net seller of stocks. As Buffett is considered one of the greatest investors of all time and something of an oracle when it comes to the financial markets, his moves and decisions are closely observed and analyzed. Says the fact that his company also owns a vast array of businesses in many different industries makes Berkshire Hathaway's move something of a telltale sign of the U.S. economy for some investors. Here's the truth. Warren Buffett cannot sell all of his stocks. If he did, the economy would come collapsing down. He always has to keep something, and he tries to keep his best performers in the gate, making money, increasing cash flow. But you are watching him being a net seller of stocks right now. Here's the question, and I want you to answer this honestly, as honestly as you can. Do you believe that Warren Buffett will announce, or Berkshire Hathaway, when the quarter 3 earnings come out, that they have sold more stocks than they did in second quarter? Yes or no? And think about it. If the answer is yes, the question would be, why did they sell more? I believe that we're headed for an imminent banking collapse, and we're going to see more banks, just like the one that I called a few weeks ago, this week starting right now, where the Federal Reserve has now told them you are to cease and desist operations. The banks are crashing, they're crashing fast. The question is, are you going to be ready for it, or are you not going to be ready for it? Are you going to be ready for the real estate collapse, or are you not? Thank you, Retoken, for the super chat. Guys, I'm going to put a handful of 80% off links. Makes the course $199. How you can prepare right now. Very easy to get prepared now. Actionable steps down below. If the course isn't $199, then the links are done. Hope you guys have a great day. The Economic Ninja is out.